Hello guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Emily, and in today's video, I thought it would be interesting, in honor of Blindness Awareness Month, I want to do a video of how, maybe how I've gotten through some of the classes in massage therapy school, tips and tricks, things like that, because of, I believe that people who are blind or visually impaired or with any disability should have the opportunity to go pursue any career goal that they would want to work in or go into. So I was just making sure I had the right volume for a section of this video coming up, which I do. Yeah, I just definitely want to make this video for anyone who wants to go into the field of massage therapy, to have that information of what I wish I knew, or what I wish I had going into this, because it is very interesting, it's very different from your traditional classroom setting type of thing, traditional college type setup. So I wanted to make a video where I talk about everything from admissions to resources that you should have and things like that. So that way, if you decide to go into this career field, you will have more of a resource from my experience. This is definitely not what's going to work for every blind and visually impaired person out there. This is definitely just kind of my experiences. At this time, I have 3 classes left in before clinicals. So I think I will be finished in early January, or by the middle of January, I believe. So I have that much time left. So I wanted to just give you my experience as someone who started at the end of March, beginning of April, just to kind of let you know if I knew this from the beginning, what would I have done different, or what resources I'm glad I have access to. So let's start with the admissions process. When you are getting admitted into a massage therapy school, they want you to come tour, see the facilities, see the school, things like that. And then you will generally meet with your admissions representative, or this is how it was here in Louisiana. My experience, I toured 3 different schools before I made a decision. And then you'll generally meet a member of administration, director of education, something like that briefly, especially if you have accommodations, just because the admissions staff generally want to make them aware that if you do decide to come there, that you have accommodations, and they want to make sure that you can get what you need before you commit. So I would definitely bring it up to some of these schools, because some of these schools you may be their first blind person or you may not be. One school I toured at, I was definitely their first blind person they had worked with. Another school I toured, I was kind of their first blind person in several years, so they wasn't sure, so they wanted me to work with the director of education to make sure I had everything kind of situated how I needed it to be. If I did pick that school, to make sure that they could get their books, or make sure the director of education was aware so they could do research and let my admissions advisor know. Every school has a little bit of a different process as far as that goes. And then another school, they had other blind and visually impaired students either at that campus and enrolled at other campuses, or who had recently graduated. So they were slightly more familiar. They were more familiar, at least like the admission staff and things like that, with whom I should talk to as far as making sure I have what I need. So just go in and be upfront. My biggest advice for the admission staff and things like that is be upfront about your accommodations so they can get what you think you'll need as far as accommodations and things like that. And let them figure out who you need to talk to. And that has been that's my advice. And also, if you can, meet the instructor, because your instructor will play before you commit, because your instructor will play a vital role in how accessible your materials will be. So after you get, so that's my tips on the admissions process, and you'll know, at least in my opinion, after you tour the schools that are close to you, if you have multiples that you can feasibly get to. It was pretty easy for me to make my decision based on what felt right. And then I want to just talk about looking back, what I wish I would have done. I wish maybe I would have, so I met the instructor in passing. I don't know if they would allow you to, but just maybe have a conversation with the instructor just to explain, if they don't have another visually impaired person in the class, what you will need accommodations wise, different things like that, so that way you get a sense of what's going on in the classroom before you start. Since generally you will, in massage therapy school, you will have one or two, at least in my experience, a few instructors that you work with the whole 9 months you're in school, instead of at high school or university, it switches every so often. You have the same kind of instructor or group of instructors usually that you work with throughout the program. So I definitely see if you could at least touch base with the lead instructor if there is multiples in the program. So that was it's kind of like the admissions process and things like that. What I wish I knew when I got started, just don't compare yourself to everybody else in the program. Everybody comes in from a different standpoint. Some people come in are knowing a lot about massage. Some people come in knowing nothing about massage. Some people, have a medical background, so anatomy comes easier to them. Some people struggle through anatomy. Anatomy is a beast. No one's going to just fly through it, but it's easier. Some things come easier for others. So I wish I just kind of knew sorry, I'll have an itch in my eye, but try not to compare yourself to everyone else in your program, because everyone is going to be at different points and learn at different rates and learn at different styles, and everyone is kind of going on a different path. I know I want to kind of go in the more chiropractic, working in a chiropractic office, along being a massage therapist, along with a chiropractor or some sort of medical hospital route. But then I have 2 or 3 other people who I go to class with, who want to go the spa route and who are dead set on the spa route. So, just soak in what you can and learn everything, and it'll definitely help you learn like which path you want to take, and just don't compare yourself to everyone else, even though it's hard because you're with that same group of people for 9 months. And there's generally, from what I can tell, 2 different ways classes are usually set up. There's usually like the type of class where everyone starts at the same time, like where you all take the same classes at the same time, or my school, which is a Ferris wheel where anyone can start at pretty much any time except for during anatomy and physiology, and you just pick up where you left off, and it's a spinning wheel. Like, the classes go in a certain order, but you just pick up where you came in. Like, I started right at the beginning of anatomy, so that is where my Ferris wheel will end, because I have to just make up like a few hours because I was doing orientation stuff. I don't know how many it is, but I know I have to make up a few hours for that class. But whatever class you start in, if you didn't make up all your hours or didn't complete all the requirements because of the date you started, that's the class you will end on. So that's like what I wish I knew before I started. Oh, there's one more thing: attendance. Attendance, at least in Louisiana, read into your state requirements and see what attendance is like and mandatory. See if I'm sorry, I can't talk, you guys. See if attendance is mandatory or what the regulations are for that in your state or wherever you live. Because here in Louisiana, we are required to even be considered for our licenses to have 90% of attendance in all classes. So we can't if you can have all A's on all your tests, but if you don't get that 90% attendance, you fail that class and have to take it again. So, just check into all of your requirements and make sure you can, manage it and handle it type thing. And then my next section is definitely just, general resources, tips, tricks, things to bring up to your instructor, that kind of thing. So definitely figure out how you learn best and don't be afraid to communicate it. I learn best by feeling, letting someone work on me is how I learn best. So if I can, when the teacher's teaching something, I try to be the person that they demonstrate on, just so I know. Or if we are working in pairs, which we do a lot, you do work on people a lot. You do work on the people who you're in class with. Generally, I will ask, if it's a new skill, to be the first one on the table and partner up with someone who has a good understanding with it, just so I can feel what's going on before I attempt to do something on something else, or do something on someone else. Because our motto as a massage therapist is do no harm, so you don't want to hurt someone because you don't know. We're going to make mistakes in class. That's another thing to remember, is you're not going to be perfect. But, I at least want to make sure I have, the basic understanding before I do it. So just, make sure you, know how you learn best. And don't be afraid to, talk to your teacher/instructor and see how they can help you implement that into the classroom and implement that into your studying. Like I have Word documents of one textbook in a somewhat accessible version of a PDF of another textbook. And the Word documents, I read them on my Braille display, and I read them on my Braille display on my Braille note and get speech to read it along with it, and that helps me a lot. Then for our other textbook, our anatomy textbook, the Trail Guide to the Body. Anatomy is a big thing. I have a few other tips for anatomy that I'm going to share. If you have the Trail Guide, get your teacher to help you connect to the audio files on the Books of Discovery website, because you can navigate with a screen reader through the PDF. It's just bulky and aggravating. So I would recommend getting set up through the audio files, because it will read you everything. And so that's my recommendation. And then, just figure out what works best with you for studying, because I know with the Trail Guide, I do best with like reading it in the audio files and either practicing it on me or on someone else, since it's like anatomy, practicing locating it, and things like that. And then my other textbook, Principles of Massage Therapy, where they have all kinds of things. I think they have some of the anatomy in there. They have like the history, ethics, things like that, equipment, all types of things that you need to know. I read it with speech and Braille. And talking about anatomy, this book was not required by my school, but I ordered it whenever I had my stimulus, whenever like all the stimuluses came through a while back, and one of my friends who I know was given one of these, but I'm pretty sure, I think if you have a good counselor through your vocal rehab, you should be able to get this approved. It is the basic atlas, or basic tactile anatomy atlas. This thing is a lifesaver when you're studying anatomy of the brain in the textbooks and things like that, and say you completely don't understand where it is. I'm gonna like read you the table of contents, because this thing comes in 2 volumes, and I'm gonna read you the table of contents for both volumes, because it's just crazy what comes in both of these things. So in the first volume, the only bad thing about this is why I'm saying you either need a stimulus or vocal rehab to help you. If you don't have have the money, is because it is around $300, just because of the Braille and the raised tactile images that are completely labeled. I'm about to tell you what's all in here, but what I like, I'm going to read, let me find one of the shorter ones. It has like little descriptions by each thing, so that way you kind of know what you're looking at. I'm finding a shorter one that won't take me as long to read. Or I'm just going to read you a little bit. This is for like the bones of the hand. The bones of the hand may be separated into 3 different types. Open your right hand with your palm facing up. Now lay your hand to the right of this figure. the bones in this figure are just like the bones in your right hand. In this figure, the little finger is on the left side while the thumb is on the right. Notice that the bones of the hand are are separated into 3 groups. And then it goes into a description, and then it says, begin at the bottom of the page and find the 8 carpals. 8 carpal bones. These bones are found at your wrist. And then it keeps going with a description of how to find the different bones and things like that, and it's just really cool and really helpful. So I'm going to tell you what is in both volumes, because to me this is what is really helpful. So on the first couple pages, I'm reading the table of contents. Basically, they have the first 2 pages are the first couple of pages are just describes the use of the atlas, and then they have a pizza and an ice cream cone just for you to practice. And then after that, they have an introduction to the skeletal system. In text, it just tells you that there's just text there. And then it's the anatomical view of the skeleton, page 1, because the rest of those pages were Roman numeral pages. And then it says anatomical view of the skull, page 2, topographical view, page 3, scapula, page 4, the topical leg bones, and then the bones of the hand, and the bones of the front of the body, the anatomical view of the muscles, of the interior. I was looking at 2 different things. The interior view of the muscles, the posterior view of the muscles, and then they have another, they have just the back muscle, some of the back muscles, and then they have a couple of pages where it's the different parts of the cell, and then it goes into lateral view of the brain, in the lobes of the brain. And that's just all in, oh wait, there's a couple more pages I forgot about. The eye, they have the eye, the ear, the endocrine glands, and the in the pancreas. And then in our second volume, they there we go. They have the abdominal organs. The abdominal organs in the stomach are your first few pages. And then the and then after that is is the intro to the kidney, and then it goes into like the difference between like the male pelvis and the female pelvis, and then the reproductive systems. Warning, if you are getting like this for anyone who's taking like a biology still in high school, the pictures are pretty detailed. So just a heads up there. Because like they show like all the different structures and fertilization and all of that type of stuff. And then they go into like structure of like the DNA and things like that. And they also have the heart and things like that somewhere in this volume as well, which I might have skipped over that, but I know that is in here. So that is what is in this book. Like I said, it is expensive, but I think it's worth it. And then also another good resource is, Crash Course for Anatomy. The Crash Course Anatomy playlist. I will link that down below. This atlas you can get from American Printing House. Like I said, again, it is the basic tactile anatomy atlas. I called and ordered it. I think they have it on their website. I haven't checked, but I called and got them to help me place the order for it. But like if you're going through state rehab, they would probably handle buying it. But and then the Crash Course, I will link that below because that was extremely helpful. And then just for techniques, I'm gonna link Massage Sloth. Massage Sloth and Rebel Massage are two good channels. This YouTube is a great resource if you're not sure about something you learned in class. Just type in like blah 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 anatomy of the brain or reflexology, because I learned a lot about reflexology and shiatsu, which was what we were learning this week. I want to learn a couple more techniques, so I looked those up online on YouTube. And that is my biggest recommendation for like that type of stuff. And as far as tests, every school does tests different. Every instructor I've had has done tests different. Some will message them to me on our Edmodo. Some tests will be read aloud. It just depends on the format that the test is made. So I'll just say be flexible, roll with the punches, but also know how you learn best and try your best to stick to it, but also be willing to adapt. So, I know this video was really long, but I hope somebody will get something out of it, because like I said, as someone who's gone through it or who's going through it, I wanted to give people kind of what I didn't have and just some resources. I would definitely recommend an iPad. Or something like that, or if you can find out from your school enough ahead of time what they recommend for whatever software that they use, and see if that would be accessible to you. An iPad and either a Braille note of some kind or a Braille display, as far as for like accessing assignments and reading things and things like that. So like I said, I want everyone to have access to information like this, and this is what I know because this is what I'm going into. So this is what I wanted to share about. I will probably be doing another video soon about being a YouTuber, how I feel about being a YouTuber. I will probably, so upcoming videos. Tomorrow's video, because I already have it pre-filmed, will be different. The difference between the premium graphite folding cane and the slimline graphite folding cane from Ambutac. Then also you can expect to see, because this was just like a resources video, how I feel about massage therapy school, type of thing. And then I also want to do tips and resources on being a YouTuber, and then how I feel about being a YouTuber. And then you'll also have, of course, like my Braille note videos. I want to get some more reading videos just kind of scattered in, but those are like the big videos I want to get out for Blindness Awareness Month. So thanks for watching, if you watched all the way to the end. Bye!
Speech on. Take picture. Stop recording. 31. Viewfinder. 31 minutes. 11. Stop recording video. Button.